The night of this music, man. That's quite enough shite techno music for one night. I'm not Dutch, although I wish I was. I'm Scottish, and I'm sad about it. Well, hello everybody, and welcome into this Tuesday's movie news. I am Jonathan C. Walsh. Yes, I did just check my watch to check what day it was. That's the kind of day I've been having. It's been interesting, it's been busy, and then of late, the last hour or so, been very relaxing, tipping off to sleep at times, listening to ASMR. But look, that's an aside. Let's get into this. Can you tell I'm fucking late? I'm here to speak about all of the latest happenings in the world of Hollywood, film, cinema, the legacy of one particular comedic primarily, and later drama, and more later fucking actual whack, well, sort of artiste, his career, the legacy of his career. That's what I'm going to be delving into on the show tonight. But first and foremost, That questionnaire, Multiverse of Madness, is only 126 minutes long. Should we be worried about the running time of Multiverse of Madness? Is it a concern that they have revealed the running time, and it is not an hour and a half long, it is not 2.5 hours long, it is not 3 hours long, it is 2 hours and 6 minutes long, 126 minutes long. That's what I'm going to get into on the show tonight, primarily. You can bring it up here, and as you can fucking see, it is coming in from cheatsheet.com. Now, I have never heard of them either until tonight, but to be quite frank, I had this open from last night, because this was a fallback topic we were going to discuss on the show last night, but we had our hands full speaking about Telepathy VJ's Beast trailer, so we never did delve into the topic last night. But I'm going to fucking speak about it tonight, and I'm not going to read off of Anthony Lynn's MovieWeb article. I'm going to read off of this. It is 22 minutes shorter than expected. What the runtime means for the MCU movie, well, I'm not going to read all of that. This is just being used as a sort of guide, a conduit into the conversation I'm going to be having on it. The pros, the cons of this runtime, what it could mean for the actual story, what it could mean for the sort of wider MCU moving forward into this phase and beyond, the ramifications of that running time. That's how big I think this is. A 2 hour and 6 minute long movie of this ilk is fucking short. That is very short, and as you can see here, they are introducing the likes of America Chavez in there. They are introducing in cinematic form the debut of Scarlet Witch and her full Scarlet Witch goodness. She was, of course, a very different character up until the events of WandaVision. She's now fully embraced the Scarlet Witch mantra. She's fully aware of her origins, if you like, her connection to one particular Infinity Stone. We're introducing multiple Doctor Stranges in here. We've got so much going on in this movie. Is 2 hours and 6 minutes enough? Well, we'll get into that. Doctor Strange 2 runtime of 2 hours and 28 minutes. Understandable, however, the Marvel movie is actually much shorter than fans thought. Now, yeah, the only reason I'm using this is because they actually give us a great insight into some of the other MCU movies' running times. I couldn't even be arsed searching up the running times. That's how fucking lazy I've been today. But they've done it for me, so that's absolutely fine. And as you can see, we'll get into it just now. It has been revealed. It's 22 minutes shorter than they thought. Let's get the fucking running times, bitches. This is why I am here. After all, I don't care about all of your fucking nonsense you're spouting. Jesus, suffering fuck, they've not even got the running times. Needless to say, wow, was it the other article after all? It is in the realms of the Iron Man, first 2 Iron Man movies. It is only 13 minutes longer than the debut Doctor Strange movie. The Empire Strikes Back is 2 hours 4 minutes long, Arthur Jackman has says in the chat. Arthur, that may very well be the case. I am not privy to the running time of Empire Strikes Back. One of the greatest fucking movies ever made. For me, the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. But it's a different kind of movie, isn't it? It is a self-contained, relatively simplistic twist for a sort of space opera hero or fanboy. This isn't a multi-dimensional story that has ramifications for an interconnected universe, which is dabbling so many fucking characters, including the return of the sort of twisty heel turn character from Doctor Strange 1. I forget his name all the time. I need to search this up. MCU movies running times. Let's see if they fucking gave me it. And I will dabble around. Let's bring this up. Just bring it up right now. Captain America Winter Soldier 2 hours 16 minutes long. You're doing my work for me, Arthur, and I appreciate it tremendously. I really do. Let's bring up Murphy's Multiverse. Let's have a little gander. Let's first of all fucking zoom that up, because I have not got the eyesight of a 19-year-old. I have got the eyesight of a 90-year-old. And that is only 6 feet away. So that's how bad my fucking eyes are. Let's have a little gander. Let's get that advert to fuck, please. Google. Thank you. And we will look and mute the fucking desktop audio just in case we're getting sneaky little audio coming in that I am not aware of. Iron Man of 2008 theme. 2 hours 6 minutes long. The same length as Multiverse of Madness. The same length. The opening of this universe was 2 hours and 6 minutes long. The Incredible Hulk was an hour and 52 minutes long. It's in that ballpark. As Arthur says, the first Doctor Strange, 1 hour 55 minutes long. Roughly about 11 minutes longer. This up-and-coming sequel. It's not a long movie, man. It really isn't. Iron Man 2 is 2 hours 4. 4 is an hour and 55. This is really harkening back to the original sort of MCU era movies, where it was short, sweet, and it hit you, and it hit you hard, but it got out, and there wasn't really that complexity that we now have in this universe. The juggling act of various big characters, Scarlet Witch, Wong, Doctor Strange, evil Doctor Strange, fucking different variants of characters potentially that we've known and loved. I'll get into that though. That's one of the reasons why this may not be a worry, because it may be just a totally different fucking kind of movie to what the fans are expecting. It may be that once again we've not learnt, and we are placing our expectations, our vision for the movie over and above what the actual filmmaker in the studio are giving us, and that conflict, how it creates disappointment. I'll get into that though. You get the vibe, man. Look, they're all around about 2 hours long. The Guardians of the Galaxy's fucking 4 minutes shorter. This is Guardians of the Galaxy, man. This is a sort of whimsical introduction, laugh a minute movie from James Gunn, really introducing the characters. Not a weighty, huge ensemble movie that I think most of the world was expecting of this Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Again, expectations come into it. Age of Ultron was slightly longer. You start getting into the later stages of this MCU, the more recent movies, and they're getting longer and longer and longer. Infinity War was 2 hours and 30 minutes long. Ant-Man and the Wasp isn't what I'm talking about. It's a sort of grounded fucking single hero with sidekick story. It's not really the same. Captain Marvel was probably the most recent one, which was maybe deemed to be a big reveal, a big character-driven story, and it was quite short. Endgame's 3 hours long, man. Spider-Man Far From Home, yeah, I mean, that was, again, much like what you're putting down there, Arthur. The sort of Captain America style movies. It's a standalone movie about a single title hero, if you'd like. It's not a huge big ensemble release like we were expecting. You get down, man. Eternals was fucking long. I've not seen it, by all accounts. Not a great movie. No Way Home, the most recent release, 2.5 hours long. I was expecting a 2.5 hour movie here, minimum. I was expecting to be even delving into 2 hours 45. Knocking on 3 hours with this story. Because in my mind's eye, this was going to be the centrepiece of the multiverse concept, at least the formative stages of the multiverse concept in this universe. And they would really have to dig deep into this story, introduce the concept of multiverse to us, because realistically, Loki aside, this is our first chance of having a guy who's actually capable, cerebrally anyway, to deal with the multiverse, break it down and actually compute it for the fucking audience. We live vicariously through Stephen Strange and Wanda. This is the first time in this universe we're going to get to see this explored. Why the fuck it's happening? How can we stop it? If we want to stop it. I just thought myself that would require a long arse movie. And then you had the back and forth rumours about fucking variants galore. But we're going to get fucking zombie variants. We know we're getting a zombie sort of character in this. We've seen it in one of the latest TV spots. There was lots of rumours of familiar faces coming back. Lots of big cameos. Talk of Peggy Carter coming in there as Captain Britain or whatever. Rumours are plenty about big reveals. And I just don't think 2 or 6 minutes is going to constitute that kind of story. So, is it a worry? Probably not. Because I trust Kevin Feige and Sam Raimi tremendously to get this movie right, no matter what the running time is. They will have had a clear vision for the story, and it will take as long as it takes to tell the story. And I trust these fucking guys to get the running time bang on. People thought 3 hours was a bit long for Endgame. It wasn't. It was fucking perfect. It didn't even feel like a 3 hour movie. So ultimately, what they choose for the running time, I think, will be the perfect choice, because these guys know their shit. There's a reason No Way Home's making over $2 billion at the box office during a pandemic. They just know how to get that sweet spot. They will know what the story requires. And that's really breaking into the next point I was going to discuss with this. Is it a worry? I think it comes down once again to expectations within the fan base. We've seen it destroy eat alive the Star Wars fan base. They expected certain things to happen in the sequel trilogy. They had theories, fucking essay long, short novel long theories on what was going to happen with Luke, going to happen with Leia, going to happen with Rey. Was Finn a Jedi? I've done it again, haven't I? No, have I? That's his character name, isn't it? Is it? It's been that long now since I watched those fucking sequel trilogies. Was he a Jedi? It's Finn, isn't it? Poe and Finn. It's fucking hell. I'm actually going to search that up because it's going to eat me alive. It is, isn't it? Finn. Star Wars. Is it? It is. Thank fuck. It is Finn. Oh, I had a breakdown about 2 years ago on this fucking platform. It didn't see the light of day because it was pre-recorded, but I mixed up Finn and Poe's names. I said, I think, Foe and Pin. So I have PTSD with that name. Every time I say it, I'm like, is that right? But yeah, man, there was theorising over Star Wars. Then when those movies came out, it didn't meet the expectations in terms of cinematic experience, in terms of what the fans had envisaged. And it ultimately led to disappointment. There was a disconnect between the studio and the fan base, what they wanted. Thankfully, as I says, I don't think that will happen with Marvel. I think they've firmly got their finger on the pulse. You know what they're fucking doing. Feige is a fan himself, but he's also a very competent producer. And he's handpicked Sam Raimi to come in and tell this story. So I think myself, this will probably be the correct runtime. But it just comes down to expectations and then reality. And the fans have created this alternate reality. Certainly I'm guilty of it. Of a movie where it's going to be a huge big ensemble release. It's going to match that of a Spider-Man No Way Home. There's going to be hundreds of different cameos in there, references, 20 versions of Stephen Strange. It's going to be fucking bodies flying all over the place. We're going to all sorts of different realities. And in our mind, that probably means a 3-hour movie. So the expectations leading up to this was, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Not even thinking about it. So when you hear it's only 2 hours and 6 minutes long, it's like a slight panic. I'm not going to get my version of this movie out, and that's just not fucking reality. So when reality bites, you realise that, well, it's going to be a completely different fucking movie to the one that I thought we were getting. And that saddens me slightly, but then it also excites me too, what they've got up their sleeve. Sam Raimi's early films, film barely made the 90-minute mark. The early Doctor Strange Multiverse and the Multiverse of Madness barely made the 90-minute mark. Really? His first 2 Spider-Man films were just over 2 hours. Gary, mate, you're going to have to rewrite that. Sam Raimi's early film barely made the 90-minute mark. Is this Multiverse of Madness you're talking about here? An hour and a half? Wow, that shot. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy, man. That would worry me if it was an hour and a half long. It'd be like, what the fuck are we getting here? This is potential disaster. Because although expectation versus reality is a thing, fans' expectation wants a big, huge, epic 3-hour story that fucking deconstructs the multiverse, gives us all these great cameos and sets the tone for moving forward with this concept of variants and stuff like that. Even if it isn't meeting reality, that vision the fans want, there still has to be a degree of time spent on this multiverse concept. We can't be just condensing this into like a 5-minute segment and then giving it just a regular Doctor Strange movie. They have to spend time fucking on this multiverse, why it's happening, how can we try and solve it. Then they go into the movie and deal with all these variants and stuff like that. Early films, as in the Evil Dead, but well, funny you mentioned the Evil Dead, man. They did mention that this is going to be hugely inspired by Evil Dead. I think Kevin Feige came out and mentioned it, and that does excite me as well, because they were fucking grotesque, those movies, quite violent, man. Very, very horror heavy, of course. Evil Dead is in the fucking name, clearly. Character, your main man, is in Dead by Daylight, so he doesn't get any more horror than that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fine. And if it's 2 or 6 minutes long, what that tells me as well is that this movie isn't going to end the multiverse, which I kind of thought anyway. But there was always that chance, if it's a 3-hour epic, they could just open and close the door on multiverse like that. And then it's been a sort of 3-4 project experience, starting with WandaVision, moving into Loki, No Way Home, and then it ends with Multiverse of Madness. But I think what we're now seeing with this 2 or 6 minute running time is that it's going to be the opening of the multiverse, and it's not necessarily going to close it as a concept. I think this is going to open the Pandora's box moving forward into this phase, and this is going to be the sort of theme of the phase moving forward. It's going to be multiverse. Variants are going to be coming in and out. Kang the Conqueror, of course, is popping up in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but shouldn't really be a fucking surprise. Not Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I can't remember the name of that fucking movie. So it shouldn't really be a surprise. This is a time travelling guy who's got multiple variants. It should have been there, staring me in the face the entire fucking time. So, look, if we get anything to worry about with this, I think if you're a fan who's had expectations of seeing, there's my dog coughing, expectations of seeing Steve Rogers, evil Steve Rogers, or seeing zombie Tony Stark coming in, or seeing Peggy Carter as Captain Britain, seeing multiple cool cameos, I think you're going to be disappointed now, because I don't think 2 hours and 6 minutes is enough to tell the story required with Stephen Strange and Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, and give us the cameos. So if that's what you're expecting, I think you should be fucking worried, because we're not getting that kind of movie now. There's just not enough time. If you're getting into this thinking, fuck it, I'm going to watch a Doctor Strange movie, I love Stephen Strange, I think Benedict Cumberbatch is the man. If you're one of the Cumberbitches, you think he's a big sexy bitch himself, then you're going to love this fucking movie, because it's a Stephen Strange movie at heart. And it's going to be him using his deductive powers to try and solve this multiverse concept. And you're going to have Scarlet Witch in there as well, Elizabeth Olsen, doing her thing, as she always does. I think she's going to be a regular Stephen Strange movie. With multiverse as a sort of theme up there and horror elements in it. So if that's what you're getting in for, then no, it's not a worry. So ultimately, it just comes down to what I think the fans want. Really, it's that binary choice. Do you want a huge ensemble epic with cameos galore? Or do you just want a fucking Doctor... My dog is killing me. He's ready to go out this fucking door if he does that again. If you just want a Doctor Strange movie, you'll be delighted. Plain and simple. As much as I love you, my friend, and you're a absolutely sexy bastard of a Labrador, you will be going out that door, mate, if you cough again, because you're interrupting my flow here. And I am on my lonesome. And it's dangerous when you're on your lonesome doing live streaming, and you've got a dog coughing down your ear and absolutely destroying your momentum. But look, man, I don't think there's anything to worry about. I personally wanted to see that epic. I'm not going to get it now, that's absolutely fine. 2 hours, 6 minutes. Widely established in Hollywood, and I presume further afield as well, that 2 hours is the sort of fucking holy grail of cinema. If you can get to 2 hours and you tell a story you need, and it's not overly condensed and bloated, then you have hit the absolute... you've struck gold. So if that's what Sam Raimi's done, and if that's what Kevin Feige and the creative team at Marvel have managed to enable, then so be it. And if that then means we're getting more multiverse movies moving forward, so be it as well. Absolutely down my street, because I want to see these different crazy variants. I want to see Kang the Conqueror doing this. Kang the fucking Conqueror ain't dying in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, whatever it's called. He will be in that movie, he'll bitch slap him about. Might be a weaker variant and he actually does die, but that character as a whole, you don't bring in Jonathan Majors to not have him have a sort of overarching presence in this universe. So whatever they do, I think it'll be fucking right, and I'm looking forward to the movie regardless. But it's a shot. I like 2.5 hour movies, 3 hour movies now. You can blame Matt Reeves and the Russo brothers for that, and the guy who did It, because he made a 3 hour movie as well, some Italian named guy. I can't remember his name. Wife and husband duo. Topic number 2 though. Going to get right into it, man. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it's one Hayden Christensen's Darth, Julius Vader. And as you can see here, it's coming in from Screen Rant, which I'll bring up. You can't see that, but I've put it in the bar for you. Vader to get a post-credits intro in Obi-Wan? Question mark. Well, that's coming via the reasonably trustworthy source of Making Star Wars. Certainly back 5-6 years ago, when the sequel trilogy was in its full splendour doing its thing, Making Star Wars was the place to go for information. They seem to get leaks galore. They seem to have their finger on the pulse about what was going on in these movies. So if they say this is something that's going to be happening, I tend to believe that it will be, and it will fly completely in the face of everything I says that would happen in this Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show, because I didn't think that Obi-Wan would be facing Darth Vader in the actual physical world, fighting him again. I just thought it would be him tormenting his psyche, his psychological demons of Mustafar, coming to him as he sleeps at night. That's what I thought we'd get with Hayden coming in and playing a sort of de-aged version. Maybe just a fucking melted version like that there. But it looks as though that's not going to be the case. Julius isn't canon, no, I've just added it in. Yeah, that was Mark Ellis from back in the day. Stand-up comedian of Collider fame. He used to call him Darth Julius Vader. And look, if Mark wants to call him that, then it almost does become canon. Because Mark is such a big Star Wars fan that you just listen to that fucking guy, plain and simple. But as you can see here, a new Obi-Wan Kenobi rumour details how Darth Vader will be introduced on the show. Hayden Christensen is returning to play the iconic villain in the limited series, though specifics about his role have been kept under wraps for the time being. Only vague teases have been shared, such as the fact Obi-Wan Kenobi's Vader isn't the fully formed version from the original trilogy. Well, no fucking shit, because there's about 20 years transpires between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So the guy we see in A New Hope, that guy we see pain, though he is, shouting for Padme, is she dead? Is she gone? No! Totally different. Went on a journey, a painful journey. Lots of time spent pondering existentialism and life in that Bacta tank, let me tell you. So that shouldn't be a surprise to fucking anybody. Though Vader was left out of the first Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, it'd be strange if they put him in. Has released a silhouetted image of the Sith Lord. Now we're going to get right into it, man. I'm going to move down to the part that is pertinent to what I'm talking about here, and as you can see, per making Star Wars, the plan is to introduce Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi via a post-credit scene after the second episode. The stinger is said to show Vader in a Bacta tank and one of his eyes opens into frame. That'd be fucking epic. Can't wait to see it if it's real. This moment allegedly takes place after Obi-Wan and a young Princess Leia reunite in Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 2. The Vader post-credits scene sets up his more proper introduction in the third episode. Now, of course, we have had Ewan McGregor coming out within the last week and revealing that the show has been delayed 2 days from the fantastic day of the 25th of May to the 27th of May, slightly less fantastic day, with the caveat that there is going to be 2 episodes releasing day 1 of this show on Disney+. That for me adds a bit of weight to the rumours that I have just read out. The sort of leak that Making Star Wars has revealed on their website. Because if you are dropping 2 episodes and then leaving it an entire week, what would be the best way to keep buzz going for the show? Even if it's a disaster and people are slightly disappointed by where you're going creatively in those first 2 episodes, which is fucking unlikely, by the way. There's no way Ewan McGregor would put his name to it. He doesn't need to. It must have something about it, this script. But what would be the best way to do it? Well, drop in a post-credits scene with Darth Vader. And then you're like, fuck, Darth Vader's back. And there's just theorising and crazy buzz aplenty for an entire week leading up to episode 3. That's how you do it, man. I think it'd be epic. I cannot wait to see Hayden back playing the character. I think he was wronged tremendously in the prequel trilogy. He's proven in years following that disastrous sort of dialogue delivery anyway, performance of Vader in the prequel trilogy, that he is a good fucking actor. Very good actor. So I think this could be a chance for him to exercise the demons of the prequel trilogy. If he can give us something resembling a decent performance in this, then that's good enough for me. Just seeing Vader back on the screen again, good enough for me. I just hope James Earl Jones is in good form, because we need his voice. Obviously Ewan doesn't sound like Darth Vader with the helmet on. Not Ewan, that'd be fucking weird. Hayden doesn't sound like Darth Vader with the helmet on. So I just hope his voice is rebounded, because the last couple of appearances we've seen with him has felt a bit weak. He is an older gentleman, I think he's in his 80s, touching 90 now. But I just hope it all comes together. I hope this TV show is fantastic. I cannot wait, man. Counting down the days realistically now, it's just over a month away. It's exciting times, man, if you're a fan of Marvel and Star Wars. Lots of great content, exciting stuff coming out. We've got Moon Knight out, Miss Marvel coming out, Strange in the Multiverse of Madness coming out, rumours of Thor Love and Thunder release date. I've not actually read that. I think Chris Hemsworth's let the cat out the hat. The hat out the bag, out the hat out the bag. I don't know what I'm saying. Doesn't matter. And then, of course, if you're a Star Wars fan, you've got Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show coming out within a month and a bit. So it's fucking exciting times. I cannot wait to see Ewan back once again as that iconic character. And I hope this is true. I hope that we do get Vader in this little post-credit scene in episode 2. It builds the anticipations to be off the absolute charts, if you like, for the rest of the show, what we're going to get. Hopefully he is fighting him in physical form. Could you imagine Darth Vader fighting a younger Obi-Wan, preluding that A New Hope fight sequence, which, although it's cool in terms of dialogue and back and forth and showing you how wise Ben has become in his hermit days, if you like, it's still been absolutely fucking class to see those two guys going at it again in slightly more youthful form. How they've developed. Where is the balance in terms of... Well, we know he's still the master. The last time I fought I was but the learner, you were the master, now I'm the master. Butchering the quote, as I like to do. We know that Obi-Wan clearly still had the upper hand if they'd fought in between that period, but it's so interesting to see how they handle it, if it's going to happen. Fucking excited for the TV show, man. But I'm going to move on to episode. I'm in full Star Wars mode here. Topic number 3, or that, if you like. And it's the legacy of Jim Carrey as he ponders retirement. I've put down now. I was going to really pass this to Stephen last night, if we had time to touch upon it, because I know Stephen's a huge fan of Jim, as I am. And really the shock news that Jim is, looking at retirement, it shouldn't really be shock news, because realistically Jim has been living a very different life in the last 5, 6, 7 years. I think that the tragic passing of his wife, I believe it was, or at least partner, fiancée, really shook this guy, and it changed him emotionally, mentally. He was in a dark place for a couple of years. Also the allegations getting flung out by her family, really despicable. And he seemed to retreat into his shell. Literally, he's got a sort of fucking hideout place somewhere, and he's painting and stuff like that. He's became a different guy. I think he's realised in that sabbatical, he's done a couple of things in that time, that he probably doesn't need acting, that he's had his career, he's an older gentleman now, and that he can step away, he's made for life, and probably live a more peaceful, stress-free life. So it shouldn't be a surprise in that regard, but he's still, even though he's an older gentleman, he's not fucking done. He's got potentially 20 years left in the acting game if he so wishes. So it was a bit of a surprise to me to see that he was pondering retirement, and it'd be a saddening sight for me if he was to walk away from the limelight, from the cameras, because he's always got a quote. He's always very forthright with his views, as the recent opinion on Will Smith and the slapping of Chris Rock proved. He goes straight for the jugular. He says, look, Jada Pinkett Smith can protect herself. He says it was spineless. The whole of Hollywood was spineless. It was an act of violence in front of millions of people. So I just love Jim for that fact that he just does not give a fuck. He's different, he's eccentric, and he celebrates it. And that's something that's to be respected in a life where everyone seems to just want to fit in and feel at place within the mainstream of society, where outsiders are snubbed. Jim's not like that. He does not give a fuck, and that's to be respected. So if we were to lose him on any level in terms of his presence and his opinions on pop culture and stuff like that, I'd be deeply, deeply disappointed. And look, just for this, I've not seen Sonic the Hedgehog 2 yet. By all accounts, not as good as the first movie, but his performance as Dr. Evil Eggman, is that what it is, Robotnik? Fucking outstanding. A real flashback to the 1990s Jim, where he was overacting, he was very physical as The Mask and Ace Ventura, and just all those wacky liar performances that he gave in the 90s. It was just like a sort of peeking through the curtain back in time, using the time machine to see what Jim used to be like, and he showed that he has still got that inside him, that ability to perform or portray a character that's larger than life like this, who's a bit campy, a bit zany, a bit mental, because he is, of course, and of course so are we all, in some level, if we're honest. But yeah, man, he's been out, and realistically speaking about potential return to portray said characters I spoke about, the likes of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and this is what I had to say. I don't have any in mind that I would like to. Most of the time, when you make something that really hits with people, the sequels have a diminishing return. If you do it long enough after the fact, you're kind of imitating yourself now, you're not using your original inspiration. These movies, the Sonic ones he's speaking about, were made close together, and they were like an evolution that was being planned in my own head, at least from the get-go. He goes on to say this: well, I'm retiring. Yeah, probably, and that's the key word, probably. I'm being fairly serious, it depends. If the angels bring some sort of script that's written in gold ink that says to me that it's going to be really important for people to see, I might continue down the road but I'm taking a break. I really like my quiet life. I really like putting paint in canvas. I feel you, Jim. I'm an artiste myself, and there's something very therapeutic, cathartic about painting. You get wished off into another world. It's fantastic. And again, if you're an artist on any level, be it music, film, actual painting, then it's all the same really. You get that same sort of quiet buzz from it. So it's nice to see he's found his he's sort of, I don't know, he's found his calling in life, is what I wanted to say. I really like my quiet, blah blah blah, spiritual life, and I feel like, and this is something you might never hear another celebrity say as long as time exists, I have enough, I've done enough, I am enough. Listen, that is just, it's music to my ears if I can speak coherent English, and some would say I never can, because they can't be asked spending the time to understand what I'm saying, which is really their fucking problem, and not mine. I think it's music to my ears, man, just reading that and seeing that this guy is completely comfortable in his own skin. He doesn't need the Hollywood machine anymore, and all of the sleaze and corruption that comes with it, the money getting fucking sent to the Academy and Lord knows all the other award shows to buy awards and stuff like that, because that's what goes on realistically. It's about how much funding you put in, how much you woo the members, take them out and wine and dine them. That's really what determines who's winning big, unless it's completely clear that one candidate or movie is the clear winner. It's full of sleaze, it's full of debauchery, and this guy's stepping the fuck out of it, unless something special catches his eye, and that is admirable. I wish there was more people like that. Obviously Daniel Day-Lewis is one that stepped away. He's like, fuck it, I've done enough, my legacy speaks for itself. Quentin's contemplating stepping away after one more movie I should say, in the director's seat. And I always respect people like that who realise that they've done enough, their legacy's there forevermore, and they can just get out on the top, because there's nothing worse than seeing someone become wilted in a sort of shadow of what they were. And I'm going to go into musical terms to best explain this, and I always use the Beatles as the best example. They get out on top, they realised that as a unit they were coming to an end, and that their legacy was there in black and white. I think it was about 7 years worth of albums and about 10 years worth of being together in some vein, and their legacy is completely untouchable as a band. The greatest fucking band that ever lived. Melodies, songwriting, pure musicianship, genius. And then you've got other bands that were out at the same time, the likes of the Stones, who have continued and besmirched their legacy. Elton John still touring to this day, besmirched their legacy. The voice is gone, the talent's not there anymore, they're haggard as fuck. You've got to know when to get out, and I respect Jim for it. And ultimately the legacy of Jim, well, I can only speak for myself. As a young guy growing up, this guy's movies were ever present. The likes of Liar Liar, howling at it, loved The Mask as a little guy, loved Ace Ventura as a little guy, just loved his movies, and I maintain that I still love his movies. The Truman Show, Man on the Moon. He showed all of the brilliance that a chameleon-like actor of his ilk should have. Great comedy, great physical acting, but can also do really deep, dramatic, emotional acting as well. And I maintain to this day the guy was robbed of a fucking Oscar nomination for The Truman Show. He should have absolutely been nominated. It was one of the most compelling performances of that year, and a disgrace he wasn't nominated by the Academy. But his legacy's untouchable, man. He's one of the great comedic actors, a great stand-up comedian of the 80s, 90s as well. Truly funny fucking guy, and now a really wise guy as well. So his legacy's untouchable for me. One of my all-time favourite actors. Fucking love a guy. And hopefully he doesn't completely retire. Hopefully he takes a step away and then comes back at some point. But I'm going to move on. And in terms of all-time performances, I actually need to think of that. I'll go back briefly. What is my all-time performance from Jim Carrey? Because look, man, you get through even into maybe the watered-down performances, Fun with Dick and Jane and things like that. Absolutely fucking howling at that movie in the theatre. Howling at it, man. I'm sure that was the one where they woke up and stole the grass from my neighbour's lawn, and I was in fucking tears laughing at it in the theatre. The sort of R2-D2 robbery moment. The guy has a way about him. It's just hilarious, man. Even the sort of fireman fucking, I can't remember what his name is, fire retardant stuff, he's just got a way about him that is unique. But probably a Truman Show for me, in terms of drama. And then you move on to the more comedic ones. You can't really get away from the likes of Liar Liar. They're just fucking brilliant. Cable Guy's another one. The guys get a real brilliant output of films and performances that you can go back to and watch again and again and again, and they don't seem to lose their potency. They are eternal, if you like. So if he steps away, then so be it. His career's there in black and white, and no one can argue about it. But wait, man, I'm going to move on to this and just spend a brief time on this. I'm not going to read some of the longer reviews, but I'm looking forward to Secrets of Dumbledore. I make no what's the word I was looking for? I make no I don't know what I was even going to say there. I don't hide the fact that I'm a Harry Potter fan. That's what I was going to say. I don't know what I was going to say when I says I make no. My mind went somewhere there, and I just didn't have my faculties for a moment, and I just couldn't complete what it was I was going to say. And realistically, the reason for that is because I've got a dog. Dumb and fucking Dumber. I've completely forgot about Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber's the fucking comedic standout by a country mile. Country motherfucking mile. Country mile. I speak about Jim Carrey, not mention Dumb and Dumber, man. Just Lloyd Christmas, fucking one of the great characters. The music, the whole road trip aspect of it, the stupidity, just the Mark Ingber, that sort of thing. Just the fucking chilly moment where they're putting it in his thing and he's dying there howling at him. It's just stupid, but it's fucking great, man. The two gloves, yeah, of course, it's the Rockies. The dream sequence. There's just so much going on in that fucking movie. The whole manicure he's faking, getting his jugular vein cut, running up the fucking stairs with the cowboy outfit on, the Lamborghinis, everything. Just absolutely fantastic fucking film from start to finish. One of the great movies, and the perfect example of what he's talking about, really, when he says that, yeah, man, the cameos, the remakes came back and doing sequels of beloved characters earlier in his career. It's ever diminishing returns. He obviously done it with Dumb and Dumber 2, and it was a fucking terrible movie. Dumb and Dumber 2, wasn't it? Was that what it was called? T.O.? I can't remember. There was another one, wasn't there? There was a sort of young version, and it wasn't Jim. And Jeff Daniels, was it? The other actor. It was shit. Dumb and Dumbledore. Well, we'll get into Dumbledore. Huge Harry Potter fan, man. That's what I'm saying. And I'm looking forward to this movie. Speaking about exorcising demons, this movie has a lot of work in its hands to exorcise the demons of Crimes of Grindelwald, which was connective tissue at best, and average pish at worst. So, the reviews are in, man. Screen Rant, not fucking reading that. That's an essay. It's just not going to happen. THR, not reading that either. That's a fucking essay. The first review I will read is Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian, and it's a snippet, and that's all you need. We don't want to be sitting reading 1,000 words, man. Ain't nobody got fucking time for that. Least of all me. So I'll read Peter Bradshaw's first review of The Secrets of Grindelwald. Combine two movies. The Secrets of Dumbledore. That's what I was looking for. Is another very amiable and lovely looking fantasy adventure with some great production design and visual effects, especially in the New York scenes. But it's not about secrets as much as new IP franchise narrative components shuffled into the ongoing content and shuffled out again. Yet there is certainly something intriguing about the questions arising from the saga's approach to the existing Potter timeline. Listen, I read a great article on this franchise on why ultimately it isn't connecting like the original movies did. And the writer says it was the setting of Hogwarts. There was something magical about that setting that was escapism for young kids, maybe young adults alike, where they could go off and just forget about their ills and maybe fantasise about, look, if I was a kid going there and experiencing the wonders of that place. And it was an ever-present companion throughout. It was almost like a character in its own right, Hogwarts. And it was the linchpin throughout the movies. And of course, you go into the last couple of movies to step away from it. For me, it loses something demonstrable. Those last two movies, but also they go to Hogwarts at one point, but the magical element is gone. And that's probably something that was deliberate, because obviously he'd grown up, they were nearly adults at that point, and the realities of life had crept in. This war, Voldemort, having to fight it, the innocence was lost, and that's an important thing, because it ultimately happens to everyone. The wonders of childhood disappear, and the harsh realities of fucking real life bite you, and they bite you hard. But they were absolutely bang on. That's what made those movies so special. It was that setting, the wonder, the magic of Diagon Alley, of Hogsmeade, all connecting in some way to Hogwarts. This franchise hasn't got that. It's all over the fucking place. It's going to Paris, it's going to fucking London, it's going to New York. It's like a sort of trippy LSD fucking vacation movie without Chevy Chase. It's got Eddie Redmayne in there and Jude Law, and it's got magic, and it's set 100 years ago. It doesn't seem to have that same magical element to it. It doesn't seem to want to have that, and ultimately it loses something demonstrable. I quote that word again, for me. And it's a shame, because there's a whole era of fans wanting this to succeed, unless you're a J.K. Rowling hater now, which is absolutely fucking fine, because I don't particularly like her either after her take on independence. But hey ho, that aside, people want it to succeed, they want it to work, man. They want to connect to the character of Newt Scamander, they want to see the insight of Gellert Grindelwald and Albus Dumbledore, and what shaped these two great gentlemen, who were fucking yin to the yang of each other in terms of ideals. People want to see it, they want it to succeed, but if it ain't there, then it ain't there. But we'll get into it and see if it's there. James Mottram, the South China Post. Even a trip to Wizarding School Hogwarts, despite the tinkle of John Williams' famous score, isn't as nostalgic or thrilling as one might expect. But at least the film does live up to its billing, with several truly fantastic beasts on show. Yeah, that's something that wound me up about Crimes of Grindelwald. There wasn't enough fantastic beasts. It always seemed like a strange fucking title to me anyway. When it got announced, I'm like, really? You're pinning this new franchise, potentially 6 movies, on Newt Scamander, on Eddie Redmayne, as good as an actor as he is he really a fucking leading man? Is he the guy that's going to take you through 6 movies? Don't know, man. There's only so much I can take of Eddie's voice. I mean, anyone that's seen Les Miserables, if that's how you can say it, I don't know. Even though I'm not sure how you pronounce that. And he's sort of singing the horse, and he rose with voices ringing, and I can hear. There's only so much of Eddie that you can take, man. And that's ultimately why they brought Johnny Depp in. They brought Colin Farrell in the first movie to try and give us something different. There's only so much of Eddie you can take. So I was surprised they pinned that Fantastic Beasts thing on at the title. But they went with it. And by all accounts, they are going with it in this. They're going to utilise the likes of the Niffler and stuff like that. They're back. Maybe get some mating dances as well again from Eddie. But as you can see here, it does live up to its billing, blah blah blah. Central is the Quillen, said to be an Asian unicorn, though it looks a lot like Bambi, one of the purest creatures in the entire wizarding world. So it looks great, man, but exploring that aspect again, that gives Newt a chance to come in. I never thought Newt was a guy who should even remotely be going toe to toe with Grindelwald. Grindelwald was always fucking branded the most powerful wizard ever. Voldemort was maybe taking that title in the sort of later days, the 90s when that was set, but he was a hugely powerful wizard, and the way they set that Scamander character up, it was like, really, he can't fucking take this character on. It was strange to me, but hey ho, that's what it is. Ben Travis of the Empire Film has said this is at least an improvement on the Crimes of Grindelwald. That's fucking faint praise, mate. In many ways a corrective to that film's aimless narrative, garbled exposition and unearned character decisions. Well, chunks of secrets, fucking hell, secrets. I hate it when people do that. Still feel muddily plotted. There is more fun to be had along the way, packing in some impressive wizard duel sequences and a major beast-based set piece that justifies the franchise overarching title. Exactly, that's what we fucking need. We need more beasts in there. And we need fantastic beasts at that. Not beasts, because that'd be weird. Siddhant Adalaka. This is the last one I'm going to read, incidentally, because I'm getting bogged down with it. The Secrets of Dumbledore is the 3rd film in the Fantastic Beasts series. We fucking know. Get to the point. There are 2 more entries planned, so it's 5, it's not 6. But ending the Harry Potter spin-off here would be a mercy. There's nothing fantastic about the new movie. The story is dull. The characters are duller. It's visually unimaginative, and there are few actual secrets of which to speak. One revealed from the last entry is mildly clarified, but that's about it. So it's really dull in Dumbledore. That was fucking terrible. That's essentially what we're getting here. It's a very beige movie. It's better than Crimes of Grindelwald, but it's not amazing. but at least we've got Fantastic Beasts in there, so they can justify that title being used. Look, I'll go and watch this movie. I'm a fan of Harry Potter, and I will go and watch it. I've seen the other two, so I might as well fucking tick this one off my bucket list as well. But it's not a movie I'm overly excited about. I don't know even now if I says I was excited for this movie when I introduced this topic. Maybe I'm contradicting myself, I don't know. But I watched the trailer. The trailer looked alright. Credence Barebones is in there. Is Ezra Miller really going to continue to get employed by fucking Warner Brothers after he's issuing death threats and breaking up people's karaoke and games of darts in a pub in Hawaii? Is this guy really going to continue? He's got a fucking restraining order put out against him. Is he really going to continue to get employed as an actor at Warner Brothers after what they did to Johnny Depp, man? The hypocrisy from that studio is just incredible, man. What are they doing? Come on. You sacked Johnny for less. There is no fucking proof that he did the things that he's been accused of doing. There is a current live lawsuit moving at a pace in America. And you sack Johnny for that and you let Ezra continue. But I digress, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's go on to the final topic. Bill Skarsgård to play the Crow in the Crow reboot. Funnily enough. In the Crow in reboot. That doesn't make sense to me, that English that I've deployed down there. And this is when karma comes back to bite me. When I start taking apart critics' English and short little 100 or 240 character tweets giving their thoughts on movies, I absolutely fucking destroy them. Let's read over that one more time and see if it makes sense, shall we? Bill Skarsgård to play the Crow in reboot. It does make sense, it's just my fucking brain, it's not working tonight. And as you can see there, I simply had to put the little accent on the A because he's a Scandi, is Bill. I think he's Swedish. I always say he's Danish or Norwegian, he's not, he's Swedish I think. And as a guy who's of Scandinavian origins, descent, I simply have to put that accent in there because it's fucking cool. But yeah, going to make an admission here, I have never seen The Crow. Never ever ever. Never watched the original. Seen bits of it. Sequences on YouTube and stuff like that. I am aware of the tragedy of Brandon Lee, and that is ultimately why I've not went back and watched that movie. Because it's sad as fuck. As a guy who's a huge fan of Bruce, his ideals, his way he lived life, very carefree with whole marijuana stuff, using it as a medicinal treatment for his back, which of course he injured. Nearly paralysed himself. His sort of martial artist ways, how inspirational he was. Loved that guy and everything he stood for. Obviously, the tragedy that seems to be afflicting his family in terms of, it's almost borderline Kennedy shit going on. And how Brandon passed away with that sort of, the blank getting caught in the cartridge of the gun. I don't know what the fucking hell it is, the barrel of the gun and killing him. I know the movie's tinged with tragedy and it's dark as hell, so I didn't really want to ever put myself mentally into that situation watching it. But by all accounts, so a great movie, a brilliant performance, and there's been lots and lots of calls for this remake over the last fucking Lord knows 15-20 years. I've been trying to get this off the ground. It seems to have been directors coming in and out, and it's never really got off the ground. It's almost like Gambit with Channing Tatum. Will it happen? Won't it happen? Seems like Gambit's not going to be happening. I think Channing's actually came to terms with the fact that he's not playing that character now. Well, this one looks as though it might be happening. At least they're trying to fucking Mike is doing my not. It's got a life of its own, man. Fuck me. Who's getting on with this Mike, man? These are meant to be fucking professional singer grade boom arms, and they're solid. To be fair, you could probably kill a man with them. But Jesus Christ, man, it's actually not the boom arm, it's the actual mic holder. Shit. Rubbish. Spinning about, you spin me right round, baby, right round. It's fucking terrible, man. But I digress. It looks as though this may be getting off the ground, this Crow reboot. Or at least they're trying to force it off the ground by introducing Bill Skarsgård as the titular character. As you can see here, after spending time haunting and hunting the heroes of the It movies, Bill Skarsgård is looking to stop floating and start soaring, or at least hanging out with a supernatural creature who does, as he's now nabbed the lead in the long gestating reboot of The Crow. I love that word, gestating. Just gives me thoughts of a test tube, of something lingering in fluid in a seedy little lab somewhere. It's gestating. Gestation, not a pregnancy term. I thought it was, I don't know. An updated adaptation of James O'Barr's 1989 comic When I Was Born, long, long time ago when we was fab. Comic book tale of death, revenge and eternal love has been stalking through the halls of development hell for years. Yeah, I fucking said that, really. Realistically, man, I'll just get right into it here. I'll get right into it. Now, though, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Ghost in the Shell's Rupert Sanders, not a great movie, Ghost in the Shell, by the way, is directing a version scripted by Oscar-nominated King Richard writer Zach Baylin. Pre-production is in full swing, so it is happening. Wow. With shooting scheduled to kick off in June in Prague, it's fucking happening then. And Munich. And a $50 million budget. So it could actually take flight this time, which is what is going to take flight. And I tell you what, you can't get better cities than Prague and Munich to film. Very sort of ancient, beautiful architecture, sort of red roofs and stuff like that. Lovely place to go and shoot this kind of movie. And yeah, man, that's fucking exciting. I've got to say, I'd love to go and watch this movie if it comes out, and then maybe go back and watch Brandon's performance, because that's kind of what I'd do. Pet Sematary, stuff like that. Watch the reboot and then go back and watch the original and maybe draw comparisons. I think personally Bill Skarsgård would be a great choice to play this character. He's certainly got that darkness about him, that vibe. He's got that sort of... Yeah, I mean, if anyone that's watched like The Devil All Around and stuff like that, you can see he's just got something about him. I think he could play this character very well. I think it'd be an inspired choice. Zach Baylin, by all accounts, King Richard, a brilliant movie. I've not actually seen it. My father has seen it. Says it was fantastic. I'm kind of put off that with the whole Will Smith slat thing, but I'm sure I'll get round to it. Rupert Sanders is a slight concern because Ghost in the Shell was a fucking honking movie. Terrible. Really, really bad movie for me. So that's the one little chink in the armour. But £50 million is more than enough to make this movie. It doesn't need big special effects. I presume it can be grounded and dark and gritty. Exciting times if you're a fan of The Crow. The movie gonk says Brandon Lee bunked off school the day John Lennon was murdered in honour of the former Beatle. Well, he's a good guy then. That's what I'm saying, man. The Lees were cool. I think he's still got his daughter. I think his daughter's still alive. There's still family of Bruce Lee still very much with us. But yeah, Brandon was a cool guy, and his father, very, very cool guy. Just a tragedy what happened, and just that connection there, man, that's quite poetic in a strange way. Obviously, the untimely death of John Lennon, him paying tribute to him, and then he actually, the same thing happens, what, a decade later or whatever. I don't actually know when The Crow was made. Early 90s, wasn't it? Was it? I don't know. It must have been 89 was the comic. It must have been like 91 or something. But yeah, man, it's exciting. I hope they get it off the ground. I know it's been a long time in the making. There's been a lot of people wanting this for a long time. And I think Bill Skarsgård's a great choice. You seem to have the team director aside round about to make it a real success as well. So hopefully it happens. And hopefully it's a success. And then I can watch it. And maybe pluck up the courage to go back and watch Brandon's performance. Knowing that the guy passed away in the set just freaks me out though, man. It's fucking weird. I don't like that shit. But wait, man, what is your thoughts? I'm done. What is your thoughts on the topics I've touched upon on this show tonight? Are you concerned about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? The running time is 2 hours and 6 minutes long, 126 minutes running time. It's shorter than everyone expected, at least 20 to half an hour shorter. 20 minutes to half an hour shorter than what people were hoping for. Does that concern you? Do you think that we will potentially see a lesser movie than what was initially anticipated? Big epic with hundreds of cameos and shit like that. But looks as though we're just getting a potential Doctor Strange movie now with a multiverse concept tacked on. What's your thoughts? You can comment down below if you've got anything to say down below in the comments section. You can also share your thoughts about Obi-Wan, Vader potentially popping up for the first time in that TV show in an end credits scene after episode 2. Both of which, 1 and 2, will be dropping on the 27th of May. How likely do you think that is? Do you think it's the right decision? Jim Carrey's legacy, should he retire? Would you be sad if he did? What's your thoughts on his legacy? What's your favourite movie? Fantastic Beast, reactions, reviews out, and of course Bill Skarsgård being cast as the lead in a Crow reboot. You can comment down below if you've got anything to say about all of them, anything at all you feel compelled to share, can go down below in the comments section. And also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon on YouTube to get notifications straight to your eyeballs, and the follow button and the notifications little button or whatever it is, bell over in Twitch as well to see us for the aforementioned reasons over there as well. Regardless of what you do though, thank you very much to everyone that's been in commenting, Arthur, Gary, the movie gonk, Stephen himself. Thank you very much. But until the next time, I'm done. Bye bye.
Bye.